Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. I'm really excited to talk about summer programs today, and incredibly fortunate to have Cindy McCormick here, who developed one of the summer program search tools that I use myself and love a lot. It's simple, it's awesome, a lot of work goes into that. So I'm very happy to have you here, Cindy, to be able to chat with you about summer programs. Thank you for
Thanks, Robert. So happy to be here.
Absolutely. Um, so um, I've got a workshop today that's really around the value of summer programs because we know that we have these search tools that can throw like hundreds of programs at us at least. Um,
Thousands.
it is thousands though. I mean that's not
No, it is.
that yes, it really is. Now, how many of those are high value is a different question. That's what we'll talk about today. Because I knew that you were joining, I created a more of a conversational outline for today, which is really exciting for me. So I'm going to share my screen. Um, we don't necessarily need to be on the PowerPoint the whole time, but I do have it. Cindy, can you confirm that we've got the PowerPoint, um, the slide up?
Yeah. Yep. I'm
Thank
seeing how to recognize an excellent summer program with both of us on there.
Excellent. So today, the only thing that we need to get done at the end of the session is to recognize what makes a program high value. Simple goals. Thank you for joining, everybody. These are my affiliations. At the bottom, you can see IECs for Human Rights. I'm an advocate for LGBTQ plus students. I love them. I fight for them. At the bottom right, you can see Campus Q. This is my nonprofit information status pending on an organization to support the LGBTQ plus students. Cindy and I recorded a high-powered video just the other day that was all about how to find really awesome summer programs with her search tool. So this is a video that you can access on YouTube, and we're not going to do it today, a walkthrough of her program, sorry, of her tool. Instead, I encourage you to check out this on my YouTube channel as the College Torch YouTube channel. So there's just to jump into it. This is one of my favorite programs. Cindy, do you like this program?
Love that program.
What's your favorite thing about this program?
The the fact that the students get this actual experience that generally would be reserved for college students, but they're getting that hands-on mentoring and research experience that's really hard to find at high school age.
Seriously, I had students do this during the pandemic, and but it wasn't the part of the pandemic that was like everybody was online. It was the part where some people were and some people weren't. And this student was entirely online, even though a lot of people were back in person. And I think that there was like a pro of really awesome research opportunity, and then this con of she was completely independent. And I think that she learned from that, from the complete independence. But is that your experience too, that students who do this need to be ready for like 100% complete independence?
Well, I think it depends who they're partnered with, but in general, yes. Yes, they need to be ready. So it's not something for, let's say, a freshman, I would say.
No, I would say so too. Uh, and at least in my cohort, I would say that um, a lot of the students that are really smart may not be independent, and a lot of students that are very independent may not be ready for college level research. Of course, they're smart, but they're not necessarily going to want to do college research with a professor. So we have a program here that's very specific to a very independent, research-minded high school student. Do you know this program?
Eckerd College, I have it, but I haven't sent any students to this. Florida's always long distance, and I find a lot of times students end up wanting to stay a little closer to the West Coast where I'm located and you're located. But have you had any students do it?
I haven't yet, and the reason is because this program seems to be really high powered, that they're doing wonderful marine biology, and Eckerd College in Florida is known for this marine biology, but they're not seriously competitive application based. So when students apply to this one, it's kind of like sign up and go. While that sounds like, I don't know, some people will think that that's a good thing and other people won't. But what it means is that because this is so high valued, that it fills up so quickly. And so students are like, what do you mean? I've never heard of this place. And then it's already full. I can't come. And I'd love to share this program just because it shows that the selectivity of a place does not equate to the experience that you'll have there. Do you know this one? I left the
This,
college name off of it, but you may know it.
I got it, Carlton, right? Um,
Yes.
yeah, these pre-college programs in general can be very valuable, but you really have to do your homework. So this is an example of one where it's great, but there are some that you gotta go, oh, it's not, it's just a lot of money for a little bit of take home. So I'm sure you're gonna talk to that.
Absolutely, I will. I have had wonderful outcomes from this program for my students. Specifically, I'm thinking of an ESL student, international from China, that just her writing wasn't up to speed. Like she was not able to write college essays in a strong way. And she went to this program, Carleton. It was a specifically professional writing, or sorry, research writing, academic writing. She came back changed, just changed.
Wow, that's a great story. I
um,
mean,
it,
I have in my mind just based on my saying like vet it. And I won't say this, the programs that students have tried that haven't come back changed. But I do know in my head what they are. And there are some that you would think, oh, it's a great school. They're going to come back changed, and they haven't gotten as much out of it. So the fact that you have a student that went, that got that much out of it, that's so valuable. Like I'm taking notes now because they're not always, that's not always the case.
Absolutely. And I thought you brought up a great point that all of these tracks are different. My student went down one track, and those tracks were from a previous year. Now, that track could be offered again. We don't know that it will be the same experience. And these other tracks here, all sorts of things in front of us. Uh, and so and so there's a research component involved in this that can be hard to keep up with. So where do we find our awesome programs? We have to use our search tools. Please get off of Google, because when you search for best summer program on Google, what you're going to find is, well, the ones who pay for Google ad search, what is it called? Google AdWords. Um, there are going to be some good ones on Google, some not so good ones on Google, but there are a whole lot of programs out there that want my family's money. And I want to stand in between them and paying for something that's a waste of their time. Even worse than paying for something with little value, they don't have a lot of time. And so when they lose time participating in a program with low value, I can't give that back to them. So that's why we're here. I love the summer program search tool, Cindy, on your website. We talked about it in the video. Um, but if you want to just go ahead and give a sentence about why you recommend your search tool.
I would say the categorization. So if you know what you want to go into over the summer, I've separated out summer programs by subject matter. And then, so engineering, business, arts, healthcare, computers, etc. And then the second thing I've done is I vetted them. So we've gone through and haven't added ones that we know aren't really as good as they sound. And then the third reason is we put the name of the college whenever possible, so you know where the location is just by the search, even if it's not originally included in the title.
Excellent. And that's my experience too. I love this tool. Another tool that's brand new is the summer match tool from College Matchpoint. And basically, this one is the quantity tool. So if you do feel ready to tackle a summer program search that throws a lot of options at you, Summer Match is that tool. Another resource is Teen Life. I would say that these programs are generally qualified, and at the same time, we know the Teen Life is going to take the cut. They're going to take the fee from programs uh, that are on their list, and so I think there may be a conflict of interest there that we don't know that those are amazing programs in the same way than if we didn't have that issue. Another thing are our local fairs, and this would just totally depend on what your area is. So I'm in Pasadena, Westridge is nearby. Uh, Westridge School is a private school, and they have a summer opportunities fair. Of course, this is also like a money-making thing for them. I mean, in a nonprofit fundraising kind of a way, annual fund. But what you have are these programs in person, and I cannot, Cindy cannot, Summer Match cannot. Nobody's going to be able to provide you an in-person conversation with the programs the way that a local fair would provide. So if this is happening near you, that's why that could be a good thing to go to. At the same time, after our conversation today, I hope that you feel high-powered to put them on the spot and ask them the questions that matter. Don't let them give you a sales pitch because these programs are high cost and your time is high cost. I want to make sure that you are going to a program that's really going to work for you. I hear this sometimes. Um, Colleges, they don't like these summer programs. They don't want to see them. They don't like them. They have no value. So I'm going to put this in the generalization category because sometimes it's true and sometimes it's very not true. Uh, it's um, in a school, you have counselors who are really trying to give advice that benefits all students. And so you could imagine being a counselor at a school and having one chance to say things just once. Well, this is the generalization that would serve the most students most of the time. But I imagine if you're here in this workshop, that you are actually interested in exploring the nuance, the specifics around whether certain summer programs could have value. Here's the money slide. A good program is going to be something that you can't get during the school year. And this is why programs that look like summer courses, like sign up and take a course, take a college course for the first time, they are low value to me. I'll ask Cindy in a minute, but the reason is because you can take a community college course anytime. PCC, Pasadena City College, near my students, offers a million courses. They're awesome. Students can do that after school. They can do it online. They can do that anytime. So we don't really need a summer program that's going to offer a course and really anything that looks like something students could get anytime in the school year. The other thing that we want our programs to offer are skills. I want my students to go to these programs. I want them to come back with the ability to do something that they couldn't do before. Lastly, maybe students have started a project or they're thinking about a project, but I love, like as a dream vision, I love a situation where my students go to the program and then after they come back, they're able to jump into a project that bounces off of what they learned. They learn some skills, they're going to do something. They care about an issue that they just heard about, but they're ready to do something. This narrative, this is powerful for college applications. This is it. This is the whole thing. It's a lot of work, but that's why we're doing summer programs uh, and paying for them is because we want to be able to have something we can take advantage of. So these three things are the things that I recommend my family to have in their heads as they're looking for summer programs. Cindy, do you have anything to add here, or do these resonate with you?
They do. What I would say also is when attending these programs, keep in mind, I always like to say, what's the goal? What's the target? And the learning, the skills, what you're taking away, you're growing, right? The students are evolving. but I want them to be able to write about it. So, right, you're keeping notes, you're going to be writing about this in, at the very least, in activities description, but more than likely in your essays. So that those notes, when you're there, take them, because it'll become a memory and you might forget some of the details.
I love that. And that's really my experience working with the seniors is that they just went to these programs. Um, I'm writing notes on their essays, and uh, the ones that got something honestly, truly out of their summer programs are the ones that are the most high powered. I have to mention, like as an issue of uh like as an access issue, but also it's just a true issue. Summer programs are not required, so don't think that if you work with Cindy or I that you are going to be encouraged or required to do a summer program just by the force of it happening. Um, that's not even related to the cost issue. Is some students are going to be right for summer programs. Other students will be doing other things. The thing I want to avoid is my students not doing anything over the summer, like sitting at home and just like hanging out. Like school is really stressful. So like, what if we just kind of relax during the summer? Come on, can we stop being so serious? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't mean to be like a crushing person, but the summer is kind of the last chance for students to do stuff that they can talk about in a story on their college applications. That's why I'm here. I'm here to make sure that students know they're awesome colleges, they can discover cool campuses, but also that they submit applications so that they can go to those campuses. And here it is. You have to have stories to tell. So if you don't do a paid summer program, cool. There are other things for you. You can do an independent research project. This sounds really high level, but it just takes some planning. So step by step by step by step by step, research is answer a question, solve a problem. It actually does not need to be like lab based, like very formal. Answer a question, solve a problem in an academic way. Can we do this over the summer? This is free if you can do it. Here's the thing though, it's really hard. It's hard. Um, and so that's where you have these programs like Polygence and Lumiere, these programs that are, um, they're not really programs. I mean, they connect students with academic mentors, research mentors, either at colleges or who are researchers or have a research background. Those programs have some value in the way that this is a really hard thing to do, the independent research project, and those people they can make that happen in a structured way, telling you like what to do with like one meeting a week, trying to make sure you know what to do. I see value in that. Also, I think the price is fine. Like it's, compared to the full program, the price is fine. Uh, Not required though. I know plenty of students who have done this on their own. It's just like a really rare thing, generally for the entire population. So if you can do an independent research project instead of a summer program, go for it. Same thing with starting a business. If you have an idea, go for it. But starting a business costs money. Where are you going to find money? Well, parents are ready to pay for the program fee at some college or at Lumiere. They could, I mean, are you open to it? I mean, could your kid give you a business pitch? Could they give, a business plan? What does it look like for you to invest in your teen's project, your business plan? Uh, it should be good. Just it's a chance for students to do something independent. Another thing is a part-time job. If you're not sure what to do, if this webinar feels a little overwhelming right now because there are so many things out there that look like so many things, this is just your go-to part-time job. You can't go wrong with that. You just can't go wrong. Cindy, you can tell me if you agree. The value of the summer program really, even more than for me, even more than the actual skills and experience is the accountability. If you send your kid to a summer program, that they're gonna do the experience,
Right. They'll
but
come
you
out
don't.
with something to show for it. I try to frame the summer program when I'm speaking with families and maybe there is a sense of overwhelm or a sense of I need my downtime. And I say, This is a get to, not a got to. You get to do something you're excited about. You get to explore. You get to go deeper down an avenue of interest. If you frame it in that positive way, it's going to be cool. If you're framing it in, I got to do this because I got to use it to get into college, it becomes really a weight. And we want summer to feel like opportunity and excitement, not I have to do this. So if you can find a way to get excited and do something that interests you, and then that translates onto essays and applications, that excitement comes right off the page. Robert and I can tell you, we read essays where students are excited about what they did over the summer. They learned, they applied it to what they may want to major in or what they want to study in the college. That's a home run.
That is so energizing to hear. And then, Cindy, do you relate that? I don't know. Do you ever look at these programs sometimes and think, like maybe if maybe I would pay, I would go to this thing. I would have a ton of fun. I could do anything at a place like UC Santa Barbara RMP, or I could do anything at I mean, or
Oh,
whatever. Do you
I
ever feel
want to
like
do over. I want to do over. Yes. There's
um,
some really great ones. Like these kids have so much opportunity. I don't know. I was a lifeguard over the summer. I was not getting smarter. I was just getting tan and saving kids on the pool deck. I wish I could go back and do this stuff. It's great.
amazing? And then you and I have this in common because I was a lifeguard too, and it was a if I could go back in time, I'd take some job that didn't require so much focus. I think I was supposed to be like watching all the time.
Oh yeah,
Uh, oh man, but
totally.
so I've got some slides that are going to just be conversation starters for you and me, Cindy, and we may not get through all of them, but we can just go through them one at a time and see what we think. So, what do you think about a summer program that's going to offer the taste of the college life?
I'm a fan. Is that Berkeley right there? It looks like Berkeley.
Yes, I mean it's a background, so you're going to see it again.
Yeah, but I was
But
like, are you
yes,
talking about
yes.
the ones at Berkeley? Because I've had a lot
I,
of students go to that program in particular, but in general, getting a taste of college life, in my experience with my students, gets them really excited about what's ahead. And every once in a while, you'll have students who are maybe a little apprehensive or not sure what it's all going to be about when they go off to college. How great to get this little preview and know what it's like to sleep in a dorm and go to the cafeteria and go to class. I think it's great.
I more than anything else in the entire world, I love an opportunity to just talk out like different perspectives. I love what you just said, especially for a student who is unsure about college, dot, 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 period. Um, like is college right for me? That going to one of these programs could give them an energy that they didn't have before. And then I wonder if the students who are applying to these programs generally aren't having that issue, if they're having
I was just
other issues.
thinking, well, you do a side note of that apprehension is I have students who would be willing to do it if, and I bet you parents on the call will go, if their friends will go with them. Mhm. I get that. I'll go, but I want to have a friend. And so I encourage students who are having that second thought. Some of the best experience in life at this age is stepping out of your comfort zone and being willing to go without a friend, because you will make friends, because the other students there so rarely have a group or a friend. All of you are taking this leap. So it's a little bit of college life slash independence slash growing up.
Yes, independence is a different journey for every student. And some students are talking about going to a new state, and others are talking about going, I mean, they just to sleep somewhere that they haven't slept before.
Right.
Awesome. For me, when I see at least the language, I'm so right now only talking about the language, taste of college life on the literature for the programs. This is to me one of the things that makes me a little bit nervous. I see taste of college life, they're marketing it, they're promoting it, and um, I wonder who they're pointing this at, and if this is really high value for my families. I especially wonder. I don't know. I wonder if it's real because When students go to a college campus during the summer, that's not the campus experience. And
Mm,
it's misleading them to think that this is what it's like to be at UCLA. Because actually, over the summer, it's a totally different experience. And especially if you're living with a bunch of high school students over the summer, you're not experiencing the college life. So I always want to just be transparent about the experience. And yeah, I want to just like step in front of college marketing or the summer program marketing, and I want to just give my family like a real sense of what it is that they're paying for, especially when it costs like as much as my service. Like I want to make sure that this is really high value for my
value.
families.
Well, it's kind of comes back to different perspectives, different students.
Oh
For
yeah.
some of my students getting onto a college campus and having that just walking around and being in a dorm is a big growing up experience. Other students of mine were looking for something very academically valuable and a lot more in depth than just getting an experience on a campus. So I think part of it is knowing your students' needs and readiness.
Entirely. I'm 100% with you on that. What do you think, Cindy, about the one in front of you?
Value of research in a real lab. Well, I mean, in the view of what you were just saying about the last one, it depends. A lot of these are going to be it depends. You really need to do that vetting. What's a real lab? You know, is it truly with a grad student who is in a PhD lab and they're letting high school kids in there to do it? I always say if it's hard for a college student to get in a lab, what's the incentive about behind someone letting a high school student in their lab? What's their incentive in letting you in? So you have to know who's putting this together. And if you're actually getting some of that experience in a real lab, what does that mean? That's how I interpret that.
I'm right there with you. I love the way that you said that because I think in an ideal world, this is like gold star. And then
Right.
yeah, in reality, this is not something that undergraduates can expect. So when a program can promise this, like UC Santa Barbara Research Mentorship Program, RMP, cool. But so few students get to go to RMP. These programs are so selective. They're so selective that they're like Stanford is now, where they don't publish their admission statistics for undergraduates. Like these summer programs don't publish their admission statistics because they're intimidating. Why would you apply to someplace if it said that 1% of students get to go? And you're going to find opportunities to do research at some programs, but I think I'm with you, Cindy, that if you narrow down your entire list of opportunities to only ones that offer this pie in the sky thing, you may not have many left, and then when you apply, you may end up with nothing. So as always, we have balanced lists. But what about just like research skills, just like yeah, more broadly?
Yeah, well, I like those. I think it's interesting. In the time you and I have known each other, hasn't research and the value and the weight placed upon students doing research quadrupled? I mean, it wasn't even like a super common, oh, this is what we want students to be able to do or have. Even I'd say maybe 7 years ago, it's become the biggest thing. And now colleges will put it on their websites as one of the main tabs when you're searching who's going to let the students get research. So this is a skill that has grown in relevance. I believe you can add to that.
Uh, Yes, I have noticed the same thing. Do you know this about Columbia that they say like please don't attach extra recommendations, but also if it's a research mentor, if you could just send that because like it says their website so like in tiny little letters. Um, yeah, this seems to be something that's so important to colleges. Of course, this is what you would do at many universities if you were very ambitious and landing there. You would go there and do research there. So it makes sense that colleges might want to see it ahead of time. I do think it's valuable. Yeah, at the same time, what you just said, Cindy, made me think. I don't know. Have you seen the colleges that are kind of saying out loud, like, that they recognize the privilege in this and that maybe
Yes.
they won't look as much at it? Do you believe them? I don't know if I believe
I
them.
will say I read the best, very long in-depth article about this very topic. And what they're wary of are the pay to play, as you kind of referred to. It's where you pay a lot of money to get published research. But if you dig a teeny bit deep below the surface on what is the research about, where are they being published, there's a very wide range of value there. And the example in this article was a student who had paid one of the companies out there to mentor them, get a graduate student to mentor them. They published a full paper on the value of, or a comparison of Twix versus Snickers candy bars. And it was embarrassing. And here this student thought they were doing what they were encouraged to do, go get some research. And it was the college took the time to read the paper, this one saying, we are now so wary of what are you calling research? Where are you being published? What did you actually learn and accomplish? So I absolutely implore my students to think hard and long if they're ready for this, because Twix versus Snickers is not going to cut it.
Um, this is this is such an awesome conversation we're having right now. So of course, I'm with you that uh, low impact opportunities for high schoolers. It's just like we're paying for stuff. Colleges don't like it. They don't have a story to tell, and it's a little bit clownish. So this is, the thing you just described. And then at the same time, in the honest, true to life academic world of research, some of these research topics are really silly. Do you know what I'm talking? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Um, and just the way that research actually, if we're really being honest, like or real about research, that it's kind of like we have silly projects to build on silly projects to build on silly projects, and then eventually we've saved the world or eradicated a problem. But it's kind of like how research is. It's a little bit random, and we can't value too much the question, the research question. Although we can value the research method, and we can value uh, what we can do with the solution there. I have a feeling that the thing I just said is a little bit beyond the relevance of a high school student, and that in reality, we can just focus on the experience. Is this a high value experience for high schoolers? Are they doing something that they haven't done? If students are really exploring like the intricacies of Snickers and Twix, there are
You're like,
probably
okay with that?
well, there are skills involved in that, and they may practice some skills, and I can actually be open-minded about that. In reality, I got just as many questions, and um, it's not about checking boxes. It shouldn't be, especially if we're going to spend all this money, right? I want my students to have experiences that are relevant to college, that prepare them for college. I want them to have stories to tell about that. What do you think about career facing summer programs? Are those for a student who is thinking about their career, are those high value?
I personally think yes, for students who are really sure. That's a tough one, right? Because sometimes I feel like colleges and even us, we want to get them into their track as early as possible. The more we know, the earlier we know, the more we can set them up for better odds of admission, because their app is getting more prepared. However, as a common sense adult, knowing the developmental stages of a teenager, I also really push back on pigeonholing a kid who's not sure. So rare is the student who truly, truly understands they know what they want to do when they grow up and they're ready to go into a career facing summer program. But they do exist. And if, let's say, an engineering, that's a really good example of a hard to get into major at a lot of universities. Not all, but a lot of them. The more exposure they've had and kind of career facing prep, that could help a college application. So I would probably encourage it for an engineering student. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if they're still thinking, well, I might go business and I might go healthcare and I might, then maybe that's going to be too narrow. So many of these, I feel bad. I'm like, it depends. But I hope that the underlying theme we're getting across is creative and taking advantage of learning opportunities. It can be career facing. It doesn't have to be. Like, there's so many ways to define a good summer program. So back at you.
Yes. So, um, our students, they're trying to both have experiences in their lived world, which would be, they're going to a program to figure something out. Like they haven't they think that something's for them and they don't know that yet. And so going to the program and figuring out their career, I sort of love that for them. At the same time, if they go to the engineering program, really broad engineering program, they're trying to figure out if engineering's for them, and they decide it's not in their summer before their senior year, we may not be able to tell a good story about that for the college application because I don't like an essay that ends with a negative lesson. Like after all of that, I learned that this wasn't for me, but then I'm still open-minded. Um, I also should not use I shouldn't impose my vision for the college application story on the student's choice of program if it is something that's going to help their development. So it's kind of like both of those things at once. I would say that there are two specific careers because you already talked about engineering, but two other kind of like career fields or umbrellas. Um, I think that or that I want to discuss, and I would say one of them is medical. I find that the medical programs are low value, trying to capture the market share of families that just feel like being a doctor is so important, or like and everybody feels this way, but like my kid is genuinely going to become a doctor. You don't understand. Like this is a student who loves medicine. Let's send them to a program. There are like a few programs that are going to serve that student, and the rest are taking advantage. And on the other
Well,
hand, oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was going to add on to that. A lot of families don't realize in healthcare specifically, you don't have to apply to a pre-med major or a healthcare major. So having that prep work within like a pre-med program doesn't really, it doesn't get you any further unless you're like exploring for your own interest. I think I want to be a doctor. Maybe I'll find out. But it's not upping your app as much as the engineering ups your app.
Yes, Cindy, I'm so glad you said that. You are so right because, yeah, I think that the value of, I think most medical related activities is so low because you're not going to college for medicine. You're going to college as an intermediate step to medicine. If you end up going to medicine, and that's another conversation about whether that would be diverted, but say that you're going towards medicine, the best thing you can do is get research experience. And I'll say one more thing, and that's volunteering at a hospital because if my students are interested in medicine, what I want for them right now is to be around all of the bodily fluids that I don't want to see. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know. But I need my students to be in rooms where there is blood and the other ones I won't name because I'm not too comfortable with that because that was not a good path for me. But my students need to be good with those things if they want to become health professionals. The other career-facing programs would be business. And while I was just very critical of the pre-med programs, I'm kind of okay with business programs. There would be a situation where students would just independently start a business with seed funding from parents. I love that. In reality, students need structure, and this seems to me like a program that people could organize. Like if there were a business facing summer program that had students kind of do a kind of launch their own businesses, that seems like something that I can just like really imagine a company doing well. Like they could provide value to families because it's not like pie in the sky, but it needs structure and it needs feedback. Okay, what do you think about very niche programs, like really narrow programs? Stanford cardiothoracic.
Right? I mean, it depends on the program over and over. It's the program. I have this year I tend to have a lot of students who are going into their senior year who are really into the arts, for example. They're filmmaking, film editing, animation, design, graphic. I got a lot of those this year. I love for them to get a portfolio. So yes, if you're going into film editing and you find a niche program where you're going to get some film editing portfolio together, absolutely. Niche is great. But if it's super niche, let's say entrepreneurship, and you're going to start a business, but you're not sure if you want marketing or maybe advertising or management, you're not sure, I don't know if you want to be going down the road of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a whole interesting topic in and of itself, because it's rare for you to have no business experience out in the world, just jump right in and starting a company. So I'm okay with kids getting a little experience starting a company, but reality is that's pretty nichey to then you're going to go to college and get some more experience before you're really launching your company. Most people work before they know how to fully launch a company. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. And I would just have to echo that entirely. Like, I think specific is always good, and then of course at that point it just needs to be the right specific. And you hit the nail on the head. Like a, a, a student who wants to, they know that they want to become an artist and they need an art portfolio. Good. Yes, let's send them there. Um, at the same time, students who don't know what they want to do, I also wonder about the value of these programs that are like, come and do everything. It's a taste of the college life. You'll do anything.
No,
But
that's too broad sometimes.
and that's where we come in because we have the conversations with the kids. What do you think about hyper local programs?
My MO is pretty much freshman year going into sophomore year, or even eighth grade going into ninth grade if they're ready for it. That's when I really push local. Going into 10th, 11th, and senior year, I encourage expanding their horizons a little bit, seeing if you are, I mean, it depends on the family, depends on the student, but I really like them to branch out a little bit the older they get, to see if maybe that's a good fit for them to get outside of their state, depending on family budget and other, factors.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Those local ones, especially when we know in our communities, just some local programs that really do good for our families. I love recommending those programs, especially depending on community. We don't know that those exist, or we don't know. So
Right.
it's kind of both things. We want the open-minded thing where we can go and see anything, but also if it's next door, it could be really awesome. But yeah, I find with my families that sometimes there's like a really high priority on staying in like California, Los Angeles, because I don't know, just because what else is out there? Like everything we need is right here. I don't know that that's true. I mean, I don't know that everything that we need is right here. I know we have lots of great stuff. And so I kind of have this caveat on, yes, let's explore local. You kind of maybe need to be willing to pay for it. There may be an assumption that because it's local, it will be cheaper and that we can like sleep at home. But of course, there's more of a calculation there than that. Um, so I don't know. And of course, it's context dependent. Value of college
Ooh.
credit.
So one thing to know about getting college credit, not every college gives that credit. So keeping that in mind, I'm a big fan of getting credit when it's possible. I think it legitimizes a app. But like, for example, even the UCs and the Cal States will not accept credit from other college summer programs unless it's over a certain amount. So I can't remember the number. It's like if it's under 3 units, the UCs won't even look at it. And a lot of these summer programs will be like 2 units. So then you're going, oh, well, I thought they were getting college credit. Oh, now the UCs won't take it. And the Cal States are something like 2 units and they won't take. Um, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. If they give college credit, it may not actually translate to official college credit. The conversation with that then goes on to when you get to college and you have these units from AP exams and college credit summer programs, you're still going to have to meet your requirements for your major, those credits may not get you too far if you're in a major that requires a whole lot. So then it's just extra numbers. However, it's not always the case. There are some majors that have really low requirements, and it might help you graduate early or on time. My own son, I have 5 of them, but my 4th one is graduating a year early this year as his 3rd year. Saved us a big ton of money. So that those college credits he got ahead, yay, got it out early. So again, it's very dependent.
Amazing. So I actually hadn't heard that about the UCs, about the quantity of credits affecting the about whether they would be accepted. And so that's new information for me. Hard to imagine, especially knowing what we know, that the quantity of the credits would matter when it seems like there's such a difference in quality. I think the Carleton program that I love is 6 college credits.
That's a
And
lot.
I think, yeah, well, I mean, they are required to do a lot when they're there. I'm not sure that that's really part of the value of that program. Like compared to what I told you about my students' total transformation in her writing skills at Carleton College, that I mean, I'm not sure that she ever. I mean, she was accepted to UVA, but she ended up going to UCLA. I'm not sure that she would ever have taken credits, like taken advantage of those credits, like that they would have ended up on a transcript. But if she couldn't write, like what are we doing? Um,
Right,
so I think I know that with the college credit, I don't want families to think about it first, and then maybe it could be a
right.
bonus, maybe a bonus.
Well, and they often cost more when they add those college credits, which I think is a little marketing scheme. Like the ones that say, oh, you're going to get a certificate of completion from our college. And then the families go, but we'll get a certificate of completion. And I always ask, and what are you going to do with that? You're not pasting it to your college apps. It's just a piece of paper. Like they get so excited because they don't know. And the colleges market that you get a certificate of completion. I'm like, that doesn't go anywhere.
Yes, yes. So what about this one? What about selective? Selective program's good.
Oh, it not always. I will say when you're writing your app and you're talking about the program, if it's selective, I will always have the student write about that in the activity description. It was selective. I was one of, if you can get those numbers, it's great. 30 students selected out of 500 applicants. When those numbers are available, it helps you stand out. But that doesn't mean every selective program is valuable. Again, you have to research the program. And like you keep saying, Robert, your student who came out with these life-changing writing skills, that's the bottom line. What are you walking away with that is enhancing your preparation for college life?
Totally. Um, yeah, for me, it's always the skills over the selectivity. But then I think we kind of know intuitively that there could be this element of certification that doesn't have to be a literal certificate, but that colleges have to read a lot of applications for undergrad admissions. And um, if they see something on the application that lets them know that some other institution has given a green stamp, they were very selective, they gave the green stamp on the students, there could be like a certification benefit to a selective program. But I would never choose a program for that reason. It's kind of like just again like an extra benefit or like a it just happened that way. And there's also sort of like a bias there, right? Like or a logical conclusion that we would have students who were more likely to be certified at the organizations. Like it's not something that we go and chase the summer program that's very selective. Probably the students who are going to UC Santa Barbara RMP, they're probably awesome in like a number of ways on their applications and resumes. And then
Right.
like how can we support them in other ways besides like giving them more certification? But for selectivity, would you agree with this? Did I get um, pretty close on what make like how we could recognize a selective summer program? Because the data is not always released, right?
No, I would say not all of them are lower cost. Like I have a lot of students do that launch. Used to be LaunchX. It was a MIT program. It's pretty pricey, but it is very selective and it's very valuable. That's an example of one that is, you got to pay for it, but you get something really valuable out of it. Early application deadline, absolutely higher value, of course. No data, I would say there's generally a requirement to apply. And almost always there are rec letters and essays. It's almost like a mini college application for those selective programs because they are virtually selecting you based on what you're saying you're bringing to them as an applicant.
Knocked it out of the park. Um,
Mm,
have you heard of a program called Spark? Kind of like a newer program,
yeah,
Spark with a
yeah.
C. I haven't had a student actually go, but it's on my radar. And one of the ways that I knew like this program has to be worth looking at is because it was totally free. Like like that was
Oh, yeah. That's
yeah
like Rise. You know, there's a lot of times STEM, and when they're free, you're like, oh, it's UC Santa Cruz has their research program. Such a great program.
SIP. Yeah, if it's not free, it's very affordable. I had a student do SIP 2 years ago
Yes,
or a
yeah.
year ago.
Yeah,
Man, that was good for that student.
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and if it's not free, it's cheap. So sometimes they're lower cost, but sometimes they can be higher. I just
Totally.
caution everyone to worry about, not worry, that's not a great term, to be wary of just because it says Stanford, Harvard, Columbia, whatever summer program doesn't mean that's the value. Does not mean
Which is the
that.
next thing. And I think you just said it. I think there's nothing else to say about this. The the programs at a specific campus, they aren't the college. Like you're not going to Stanford. This program is either generously a summer program's office out of Stanford, or they are just some organization or company that rented space at Stanford, and they get to call themselves a Stanford program. Don't let the name of the campus drive your decision on attending a summer program because this is the most misleading thing that you could do. Okay, at this point, I will, because I forget how many more slides
Isn't
I
it
had with
amazing we can
conversations.
fill
So
an entire hour talking about this? It's amazing.
it's almost like it's not straightforward, and it's like we have to navigate a maze in order to send our students
Exactly.
to yeah to the opportunities that they work hard for and will take advantage of. But then there's this extra complexity of whether the program is trying to take advantage of them, and I hate that. I hate that, Cindy. But I love when we find a match. Isn't that so cool?
So cool. Yes. Get to, not got to.
Get to, not got to. And you know I'm going to steal that from you. I will always attribute. I will always attribute. Um,
You do not need to.
um, so I am going to open up the room for questions. If everybody has no questions, then we're good. But if you have questions and we go over the hour, that's good with me. I do want to share before we do questions, a link in the chat. You can use this to book a 30-minute session with me if you choose to, where I can just do a strategy session with you about your summer program choices, help you identify options you hadn't considered, or if you love your options, I can talk to you about how to make those program applications high powered. And Cindy's website is www.cindymccormickcollegeadvising.com.
Here, I'll put it
And
in. There you go.
awesome. And you are going to be right on if you go there and check out the summer programs header, because you're going to find uh, a resource for finding vetted programs, which we all deserve, and right there on our website. Okay, so question time. Ask me your questions. Ask Cindy your questions. No softballs. Wow. Okay. Still with zero. Well, are you sure? Sometimes if I let it
That's
linger, there'll be a
all.
question.
You
Yeah,
know, sometimes people are waiting to see if someone else types, chimes in, but we're ready. We're happy to answer.
amazing. Okay, so Oh, we have a question. What's your favorite summer program?
Ooh, totally. There are so many. It would depend on the student and depend on the what they're going into. I will say one of mine that I pretty much always recommend for a higher academic kid going into any kind of STEM would be the UC Cosmos. I think they're fabulous.
Yes, and there's that little asterisk on this. I mean, I love this about them. The little asterisk on Cosmos where it's highly selective, and they are looking for applicants that are not typical applicants. They're looking for applicants who um, haven't had a chance before. And so our successful Cosmos applicants, they may defy this like image that we have in our head of like what a candidate would look like what a competitive candidate would look like. And that's what they're all about. It's why with the summer programs, as much as with the college list, you have to have this balance list. You can't just be the most selective because you're very competitive. You don't know what they're looking for. They have different institutional priorities. And so, and also like, if you're here and you want to shoot for the moon, the cosmos, go for it because they may want to give you a chance. So it's like all of those things.
I would make sure you have more than, you're not only applying to Cosmos, but I've had students get in from all, and like you would be surprised, not necessarily just kids who've never gotten a B. I've sometimes have students with plenty of Bs, but have a very compelling story. There are essays attached to those in rec letters, but it's a great value if you're able to get in. I would say try more than once. Once, if you tried earlier summer, go back to next summer, try again.
Yes. Do you think they keep up with that? I wonder.
I think you can reference it and say, last summer I didn't get in, I'm trying again. Let them know you're persistent and this is important to you. I think that does help.
Have you ever had a student apply to the California Summer School for the Arts, the
Is that
summer
the one,
programs?
is that Cal Arts, at Cal Arts, you mean, or, oh, up in San Francisco?
Um,
Yes.
oh yeah, yeah, it's CSSSSA or something.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah. I
mean.
have a student right now doing that. I
I
think it's
always
right in
forget.
the city.
Is it? And I don't know why I thought it was at Irvine or something, but it's
Well, there might be a few. My students, anyway, see, I know what it is because of the three S's. Yeah.
it's the one I forget about because that program is really it's like Cosmos. It's trying to provide access to
Well,
students.
and isn't it free?
Maybe
It's low cost if it's not free.
that's right, but you have to submit a portfolio, and they're not joking about that. They want the
No, you got
portfolio.
to have some legit talent.
Um, awesome. Any other questions? Awesome questions like that. Everybody, thank you for joining. This was so cool. If you think of anything further, please, you can contact me, Robert at collegetorch.com. You can contact Cindy. Cindy, do you want to give your email address or your website?
Sure. Yeah, I did a contact us link, but I'll put it in my email as well.
Amazing. Cindy McCormick, collegeadvising.com. Whew. Well, okay. um, okay, this is the best part of my weekend. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your weekend. Be well, and I will talk to everybody again next time I see you. Ciao. Bye.
Everyone.